Please ignore the little giant black thing. I'm going to try and cover up some auctions when we get there. But I've been putting together a giant list of hands that we played through in Gatlinburg. We'll see in the bottom right here. I have a lot of them. So played that tournament last week. It went pretty well. It was Kurt's first ever regional, and so that was an experience. Played a lot of bridge. We did, I think, 4 total escape rooms over the course of the week. We won all 4, which was good. The food was actually quite good. I don't think like Eastern Tennessee is all that well known for their eats, but there are a couple of like really, really excellent restaurants that were somewhat cheap. I mean, it is a resort town, so things are going to be a little bit more expensive. But there was like this awesome Mexican place that was like right next door to the convention center, which was great. The timing for the rounds was horrible. They had the rounds at 9:30 and 1:30. And so like when you were done with the 9:30 morning round, it was already 1. And then you had to go get food and be back ready to play in half an hour. And that was effectively impossible on most days. A little bit easier if you played teams, because sometimes you could finish up the team event quickly. But Kurt is a very slow player. And so I was doing my best to essentially just like play and bid instantaneously most of the time to try and keep us like on track with so that we wouldn't be called for slow play most of the time. But in general, that kind of meant that we were running up to the end of the round clock every single time. First hand, so we showed up a little bit late. We got to the tournament Monday after the 9:30 a.m. round started. So we ended up playing a side pairs on the first day. And I have a couple of example hands that I'm going to look through. So here is one of them. Let me see. This is going to be a little bit of a messed up method of presenting the hands, but we'll just do our best. So I have these things blocking the auction. So I was north. This is my hand. And the auction started. Oh boy. There we go. Club pass a heart to me. So I had to decide what to do in 4th seat. Partner's a passed hand over a club. I mean, obviously I don't have a heart stopper. My club stopper additionally is a little bit shaky. I have a good 5-card diamond suit. But it is match points. And given that no one was vulnerable, I felt like 1 no trump was probably going to be the best way to describe my hand. For one thing, after I bid a no trump, if partner has some values, we might actually get to a game that the field could easily miss if we overcall 2 diamonds and partner's looking at like a small doubleton diamond. And secondly, a no trump is often like somewhat preemptive, and it's very possible the opponents could misplace, for example, heart honors or distribution on this type of auction. Like if East were to continue by bidding 2 hearts over a no trump, they might end up playing me for king doubleton, for example, if partner happened to have that card. So anyway, I bid a no trump. It went all pass. And let's see if I can show the play a little bit. So East led the king of spades, and this was the dummy that I saw. Not the greatest dummy. At this point, we're a little bit less happy that we're playing a no trump and would probably have preferred to play in a diamond contract, given that it looks like we might only have 3 losers and diamonds, a spade, a heart. 4 losers and diamonds, a spade, a heart, and 2 clubs if the ace of clubs is offside with the opening bidder. But on the flip side, the opponents have a big spade fit, well, an 8-card spade fit, and so we might have actually just stolen the contract from them. If we bid 2 diamonds and it went pass and West balanced with a double, the opponents might be able to get into their spade contract, for example. So, king of spades on opening lead. I decided to duck. I really didn't want West to get in to put a club through, so I was hoping that either East would just have the king, queen, jack of spades or something, and would continue the queen of spades and then maybe a low spade on the third round of the suit, so that spades would be blocked into East's hand, and then I could hopefully throw them in with the heart ace to get them to lead away from their club ace, or that East might not have the jack of spades and wouldn't be able to read partner signal at trick 1 and end up switching. So the 8 of spades was played at trick 1. I think the opponents were playing upside down, so the 8 looked discouraging to me. East did end up switching to the 6 of clubs, around to the jack, and my king. And, I mean, to make the contract, I definitely need to score a heart trick. So it looks pretty natural to lead a heart at trick 2, which is what I did. I tried the 2 of hearts, which went to the king and held the trick. And now at this point, to make the contract, I don't need to score a heart, but it looks somewhat safe to do so. If East were able to win the heart ace and run a bunch of clubs, I mean, we can pitch a spade and at least a heart from our hand, and if East happens to have a 5th club, well, we weren't getting that heart trick anyway. So we may as well try and lead a heart to the king. But now that I've scored 1 heart trick, it felt pretty natural to me to try and score a 2nd heart trick. And I thought that there was kind of a clever way to go about this, which was that if I cross back to my hand and I lead the 10 of hearts, East, with an original heart holding of ace third, might think I have a heart guess, where I could have started with 10-9 third, and so East might again duck the ace of hearts, allowing me to score the queen and dummy and collect an extra heart trick. So the real question was, how do I cross back to hand in diamonds? I decided to play a diamond to the queen, because if the layout was the one that I was hoping for, where, for example, East has the ace of hearts, then I want them to kind of think that their partner actually has values in diamonds, like the king of diamonds. So this kind of looked like I was taking a diamond finesse, at least to East a little bit. The 10 of diamonds was played. I led the 10 of hearts. East played low. I put up the queen, and West won the ace. Well, we're not at the end of the world yet, because West doesn't exactly know that East really needs a club back at this point. In fact, West is pretty likely to return a spade, which is exactly what happened. West continued the 4 of spades, and at this point I was able to claim 9 tricks, I guess, taking 5 diamonds, 2 hearts, a spade, and a club. This ended up being 100% of the match points. I mean, probably no surprise there. A lot of the field was bidding diamonds, but playing in the diamond part score, they ended up scoring 110. You bet the opponents were so mad at each other. There were some big opponent blowups throughout the week. I don't think this was necessarily one of them, but this being, it was the last board of a 2-board round. All of the match point events were 2-board rounds. The opponents might have gotten up from the table and started yelling. But yeah, I think at the time they weren't really sure what was going on. I mean, I don't know why East didn't continue spades at trick 2. Obviously the 8 of spades discouraging, you know, East should know that their partner's discouraging because they are also looking at the jack on this trick. The club switch feels a little weird, especially given the no trump overcall. I mean, East could have just switched to hearts if they wanted to switch to something as opposed to switching to a low club. But there it was. So that was 150, which was worth all of the match points. So I was north once again. Great. All right, the auction started 2 hearts by West. So I have a bit of a conundrum to start with. I mean, I could definitely overcall 2 no trump, because my hand just kind of fits into that range, right? I have a heart stopper, I have 17 highs, but I happen to have this 4-card spade suit, where if we do have a 4-4 spade fit, given that I have heart length, it's pretty likely that we're going to do a lot better in spades than we will in no trump. So for that reason, I decided to start the auction by doubling. And I probably should have thought a little bit more about this decision, because in retrospect, this might have been a bad choice, given the way the auction played out. But here is, So here's what ended up happening. So I doubled. Partner bid 2 no trump. And it came back to me. And 2 no trumps Lebensall. And I had a little bit of a decision to make because normally partner's asking me to bid 3 clubs. And again, in retrospect, I might have made the wrong choice. But at the time, I was thinking,
No.
hey Richard, thanks so much for the 16 months of sub with Twitch Prime. I really appreciate the support. Hopefully you're enjoying the recap. We're just getting started. We have so many hands to go through. So I think I probably should have bid 3 clubs with my hand. And the reason that I probably should bid 3 clubs is West has a weak hand and East didn't make a call over my double, which I think East often would with 3-card heart support or maybe some values. So partner's pretty unlikely to be weak, and I should probably just bid 3 clubs to let partner show his hand. Whatever it is, like whether he's planning to, make some sort of invitational bid with spades, like bidding 3 spades next, or invite with diamonds or something like that, or whether he wants to bid 3 no trump himself, whatever that means. Kurt and I actually hadn't discussed what our Lebensall follow-ups necessarily meant in a lot of auctions. But I decided to bid 3 no trump, and that fetched 6 no from partner, which went all pass. Let me reset these for a sec. Oh no. I'm having some serious technology issues. All right, there we go. So here was the full auction. Now we'll try and get partner's problem. Okay, great. So partner was playing this one. He gets the Queen of Hearts lead, and remember we're playing match points. Obviously it looks like 6 diamonds is a little bit of a better contract, given that all you would need to do is guess the spade queen, whereas in no trump, you can also guess the spade queen. You can pick up a 4-2 spade split or whatever spade split in either direction, but you get a little less flexibility where you don't get to rough the club suit out to get a count on the suit first. You don't get to rough the heart suit out to get a count on the suit. So anyway, partner's going to have to guess the Queen of Spades for his contract. He ends up winning the Ace of Hearts. And I think the play problem in 6 no trump is actually fairly interesting. Because the correct solution might not necessarily be to just cross to dummy and run the Jack of Spades, although I think that would probably tend to work out most of the time, is a pretty good line of play. But what partner did made some sense. Partner elected to lead a club up to the king immediately at trick 2. And his theory was that West probably has some values for this vulnerable preempt, given that he's missing the ace king of hearts. So if the king of clubs holds, we can be pretty confident that West has the club ace. And in fact, at that point in time, there might be a way to put some pressure on West by running the diamond suit. If they do happen to hold the spade queen as well, they can come under, severe pressure. And otherwise, we might be able to hook East for the spade queen and end up squeezing West in the round suits. At least this was the makings of a plan that my partner explained to me after the hand. But when a club to the king lost to the ace, our heart came back. Partner had to win the king of hearts, and now he started running the diamond suit. So ace of diamonds, diamond to the king, West pitched a heart, a diamond to the queen, and now the 9 of diamonds. East on this trick pitched the 8 of spades. And I wonder what you at home would do at this point in time. I think that there's a pretty obvious plan once East has discarded this 8 of spades, but feel free to give your own thoughts if you have any. So I'll pause for a second in case people have ideas. maybe in the YouTube video. You can write your comments down below. PJF says claim down one and head to the bar. Well, you probably could do that. That would be a very sensible line of play. But my thinking is that generally players will not discard from a scary holding in the dummy. And especially given that this was a side pairs, it tends to be a fairly weak field. So East, we know, has a lot of clubs that they can discard from, and instead has decided to discard a spade. So I think it's actually pretty straightforward at this point to finesse East for the spade queen. This whole spade discard, which was an upside down signal from the opponents, probably is only being made to try and throw Declare off track and get them to take the spade finesse the wrong way. I think that's a very strong inference, but other people can feel free to comment. Partner elected to overtake the 9 of diamonds with the jack. Played the 6 of diamonds. Pitching a heart. Played the king of spades. And a spade to the jack. The queen of spades was offside, and with East out of hearts, partner had the rest, but he ended up down one. Craig says, depends how good a player East is. I don't think a bad player would ever discard a spade in this position. So, I mean, take that for what you will. Like, they would just look at the ace jack 10 of spades, and therefore they would never pitch a spade. So when East pitches a spade, to some extent it kind of means that they're thinking about what Declare's problem is. Anyway, yeah. That's the whole point on this one. So anyway, 6 no trump ended up going down 1, which was obviously not a great result for us. But I thought that this was a very interesting problem that partner held, and I think one of the big points is that, players don't tend to discard from these strong suits in dummy. So when they do, it's kind of like a very strong signal that they're trying to throw Declare off track, and if you can work out why, then you might be able to pick up the honor locations. So this was my hand, board 6, so I was in 4th seat. Let's, oh boy. Boom. All right, great. Here we go. So, auction started. East, on my left, had opened a diamond. Partner overcalled a spade. West made a negative double. And I had a bit of a decision to make. We were favorable. Again, I don't really have a stopper in one of the opponent's suits. But this kind of feels like the type of hand where we need to do something. And now Kurt and I don't play any sort of transfers over any of these doubles. So everything's just natural for us, like redouble would be points, a no trump's natural, 2 clubs is natural, 2 diamonds and 2 hearts are all natural. Well, sorry, 2 diamonds would be a cubit in spades. I vaguely remember that we might have said 2 hearts was natural here. Anyway, I decided to bid a no trump because I think it's the best description of the hand that shows some values while not committing our side too high. And the auction proceeded. 2 diamonds on my left. Diamond stoppers looking a little bit sketchy. 2 no trump on my right. So, given that it looks like it's no longer our hand, partner may have overcalled fairly light, we only have 9, and we obviously don't have diamonds stopped, no reason for us to continue taking action on this hand. And the auction continued on. 3 diamonds on my left, passed by partner once again, 3 no trump on my right. Now, this looks like a little bit of a silly auction. And oftentimes, when the opponents have a silly auction, it's because you know, they probably haven't accurately figured out where they should be playing the hand. And so they just keep bidding, right? East obviously has some very long diamonds over there. But West, I mean, either doesn't have a diamond fit or just doesn't have a ton of values. So I decided that I thought it was fairly likely the opponents were going down. And so I ended up doubling 3 no trump, which ended the auction. Let me go ahead and put these back now for the next hand. Oh, this is really unworkable. All right, that's perfect. Now we can, oh, that's what I did wrong. I minimized it so that we could see the hand. So I was on opening lead, and I ended up leading the king of clubs, because what else? This was the dummy that hit. Now, Kurt and I are playing standard carding. So the king of clubs fetched the 5, the 8, and the 2 of clubs. Well, I'm looking at both the 10 and 9 of clubs. So partner better have the jack of clubs for playing the 8. Or I suppose West might have a 5-card club suit. But for whatever reason, I kind of discounted that possibility. I thought it was pretty unlikely. So I continue to low club to the 9, jack, and 3. Partner switch to a heart, 2 of hearts, small, 10, small. And now I had a bit of a decision to make. Because if Declarer happened to have the queen of diamonds, which seems maybe somewhat likely at this point in the play, and I returned a club here, knocking out the ace of clubs, Declarer would get the ace of clubs. They would then run 6 diamond tricks and get up to 7 tricks. They have the ace of hearts, probably. You know, given the way that this heart trick has gone. And Declarer should be able to set up a spade trick. So they'll be able to run all their diamonds, lead a spade through partner's ace, set up their king of spades, and eventually score the last 2 tricks with the ace of hearts and the king of spades. So it's much better for me to continue hearts to knock out Declarer's ace of hearts. This way, I will set up a couple of heart tricks, and when partner gets in with the ace of spades, they'll be able to cash a heart, as opposed to when I return a club, partner does not have any more clubs, so we can no longer cash a club when they get in with the spade ace. So that's what I ended up doing, and I'm going to reveal the full hand at this point. So this was the full deal. I ended up playing back a heart, but obviously on this specific layout where Declarer has the singleton queen of diamonds, playing back a club would have absolutely killed the entire hand. Dummy would have been stranded for the rest of the deal, and Declarer would have taken like 5 or 6 tricks or something. A very small number of tricks. But playing back a heart was still good enough. We had already kind of worked this out, so we were going to collect plus 200 on this deal. Declarer ended up cashing the diamond queen, crossing to clubs, runs the diamonds, and on the 4th round of diamonds, very important discard from me, I pitch the king of hearts, so now partner knows exactly what's going on in the heart suit, and he knows to pitch down to the singleton ace of spades and the 3 of hearts, which he does. So we do end up beating 3 no trump double to trick. Could have been a little bit better, but plus score tends to be good in these situations. There were actually quite a few pairs who did reach 3 no trump on the east-west cards, and many of them did end up down 1. So ultimately the double actually paid off quite nicely for us and converted, you know, something that was maybe like a 50 or 60% board into like an 80 or 90%. But that was the entire first day that we played, Monday. We ended up with a 71% game in the pairs, which was my first ever 70+% game in any event. And I guess I didn't play a lot of like 1-session pairs at regionals in the past, so didn't really have the opportunity, but partner played well. So this was I guess everyone can see my hand, barely. People can barely see my hand. well, king, fourth of spades, so I got this 10 count. West open a club, that would be my partner. I obviously bid a spade. We got a 2 diamond overcall from, oh my god, this is such a nightmare. And I think I'm about to cover up my hand a little bit. So the auction proceeded. Just don't forget, I got a king, fourth of spades sitting back here. So partner made a support double in support of spades. I think a lot of players would choose something such as 2 spades with this hand. Some might bid 3 clubs, some might bid 2 no trump. But my experience in general is in these types of auctions, and especially against weak opponents who just like bidding, especially overcalling at the 2 level, that it tends to be absolutely right to just pass these things out. So we passed out 2 diamonds doubled. That concluded the auction. And 1 minute. Hold. So partner was on lead. He led the ace of hearts. Ace from ace king. I obviously signaled the queen. Partner continued a low heart to my jack. And at this point, I had like a bit of a decision to make. I'm somewhat aware. So with spades being 4-3-3 around the table, it is fairly likely that declarer has 2 of the spade honors, and switching to spades might end up losing a trick in the suit or costing us a trick in the suit. Like if declarer has specifically ace jack third, for example, a spade switch will allow declarer to play low and then get back to dummy and hook my king at a later point in time. But it kind of looks like that might happen anyway. If I switch to clubs, the queen of clubs is eventually going to set up, and I have to follow to the 3rd round, or I might end up having to rough in with my natural trump trick as declarer pitches a spade, like if partner cashes the king of hearts later. Then on the 3rd round of clubs, declarer can pitch a spade loser as I rough in. So it kind of looked as if switching to spades kind of made the most sense. Declarer or partner might have queen jack third. It's possible. And either way, it looks like we're never going to prevent declarer from scoring 2 spade tricks otherwise. So I switched to a spade, it went to the queen. I was a little disappointed. Partner was able to cash the king of hearts. I pitched my club. Ace of clubs. Club to the king. We've already collected 200, which has to be an enormous result on the board. But I am still entitled to 1 trump trick. Declarer wins the jack of spades. Plays a diamond to the queen. Leads a diamond. And one last point of order here. We definitely want to split our honors. There's no more dummy entries that declarer has. So if we were to play low on this trick, I can't play low, or I can't show it off if we don't see all the hands, but if we were to play low and declarer happened to have the 9 of diamonds, they might get clever and finesse the 9 of diamonds. So important for us to split from our jack 10. Partner did have the 9 on this hand, but when partner showed out on the 3rd round of trumps, declarer claimed down 2. So 500, pretty nice result on that hand. I think it was a tie for top, where one other pair ended up duplicating 2 diamonds doubled, and many of the other east-west pairs ended up playing a contract our direction for a plus score, but not for as large of a plus score as we ended up earning. I was east. Auction started. Pass a spade to me. Apparently I can't hide my thing because I passed, but we don't have anything to say. Even favorable. Partner's a passed hand in first seat. No reason for us to get involved in the auction. Bidding proceeded. This really is just not working out the way I want. There we go. 2 spades by South. So South raised their partner's spade bid. My partner made a takeout double. He was a passed hand. And went 4 spades by North. And I need to find a way to get this box smaller. Well, anyway, Yep, looks like we're just going to deal with it. I have 3 small spades. So, you know, we have a 9 count, right? Partner made a takeout double, but of course partner's a passed hand, and it kind of looks like partner's very short in spades, the way this auction has gone. Now, if partner has the heart ace, we might be able to beat 4 spades, right? We could lead the king of hearts, play a heart to partner's ace, get a heart ruff, and it looks plausible that we have enough defense in the minor suits to score an extra trick there, defensively. But counter to that, if partner doesn't have the heart ace, we really have very little defense. The opponents are going to get in with the ace of hearts, pull trumps, because partner certainly doesn't have one of those trump honors. And then our queen jack fifth of diamonds is probably not going to take a trick. Queen jack third of clubs might take 1 trick, but we're going to need partner to have quite a few values over there to defeat 4 spades. And given that he's a passed hand, I think that's increasingly unlikely. Well, what about saving over 4 spades? If the opponents are very likely to make their game, then it's possible, especially at these colors, that a sacrifice could be good. So I fiddled through a couple of possible hands that I thought partner could hold, and eventually settled on a 5 diamond bid, which got doubled on my right, or on my left. And that ended the auction. I will note that South spent a long time thinking over 5 diamonds and eventually settled on double, which I guess to some extent barred his partner from bidding. But that's kind of worthwhile to note for the later play. Oh, also, quick disclaimer, because I forgot earlier. I'm not convinced that, well, these hands were pulled from hand records, but especially for some of the later team hands, I'm not certain that I've reconstructed all of the hands exactly correct, and I'm not certain that I've reconstructed the play exactly correct on many of these hands. Because I do remember some of the more interesting and intricate points in play, but I'm not certain that I captured all of them when I was trying to reconstruct some of the deals. Like this one, I know that I got the line of play wrong, but I cannot, for the life of me, come up with what actually happened at the table. Oh, covering's a little bit useless if the contract's mentioned in the bottom right. That's a good point. Okay, everyone just ignore the contract in the bottom right. I could make another thing. I could totally make another thing. You know what? Why don't we do that? Jack of spades lead hit the table. Partner's obviously very light for his takeout double, but I think I really like the bid. At these colors, he's not really interested in defending. He is looking for a sacrifice, and he got us to what looks like a pretty good save. We're going to lose a spade trick, 1 or 2 hearts, 1 diamond, and 1 club. Could be down 3 for 500, depending on the location of the heart honors. It's possible that a 4-0 diamond split, which seems a little bit more likely, especially given that South thought for a very long time over 5 diamonds, could be happening. But anyway, Jack of spades holds trick 1. We get a club switch. I decide to play low. I mean, I didn't really have any reason to believe one way or another that club king was on or offside. And I figured that South was likely to lead a singleton club if he had one, as opposed to the jack of spades. So, club to the king. A low heart came through from North, which I gave a little bit of a look to, and I thought for some time after this low heart came through as to whether or not there was any rationale for playing low on this trick. And after effectively thinking for about a minute and coming up with nothing, I eventually decided to fly king, figuring that it seemed likely that the ace of hearts was offside at this point, but what can you do? The king of hearts held the trick, which was crazy to me. And at this point, I'm in pretty good shape. I decided to ruff a spade, play a club to the queen, ruff another spade, play the ace of clubs, and a club throwing a heart. I was fairly convinced at this time in play that diamonds were 4-0, the way that things had gone, so South ruffed in, but after exiting the Queen of Hearts, a diamond to the king, North showed out, and I was able to claim 9 tricks for down 2 and minus 300. North-South both could have done a little bit better defensively on this hand. Obviously, North didn't need to underlead the Ace of Hearts. There's almost no reason to do so. Ace-Jack 5th. Ace empty 5th. He could be presenting me with a guess, but with the Ace-Jack, obviously I have no guess in the suit, so there's no reason to underlead the ace, and that allowed me to pitch my heart loser on the 3rd round of clubs as South roughed in. Also, North could just continued exiting clubs, which would have kind of stranded a bunch of club winners in the West hand, and I would have had a little bit too much difficulty handling the 4-0 trump split. South would eventually have scored their 10 of diamonds. But as it was, minus 300, even minus 500 would have been 100% of the match points on this board. It looks like no one else came in with West's hand, or if they did, no one else decided to try 5 diamonds with my cards, because every other table was defending 4 spades east-west, which easily made. So, kind of a very nice result for us. You will note that North-South can actually make 5 spades. The club loser goes away on the diamond ace. The club finesse is on. So Declare ends up losing just a heart and a club if they play it carefully. So North-South could have bid out to 5 spades and saved themselves on this one, but we made things a little bit difficult for them. So I'm East, and the auction starts out to me. West is the dealer. Pass, pass. So we're in 3rd seat. We could definitely open the bidding, but our hand's a little flat. I think our diamonds are a little bit weaker than I would like. Maybe King Jack 10 5th. I would be very tempted to open a diamond on this hand in 3rd seat, or 2 diamonds maybe. But the colors are also kind of wrong. We don't want open, have partner bid a no trump, and then that goes all pass. Playing a no trump vulnerable against not with this hand is going to be a disaster. And I'm not convinced that I necessarily want a diamond lead. I've kind of touched on that, but also my hearts are quite nice, so if the opponents do get to 3 no trump and partner can lead hearts, maybe that's okay. So I decide to pass, and the auction continues. This actually is just impossible to work. Why is this so complicated? Well, anyway, so South opens a club, North bid a heart, a little bit of spoilers. I guess I can get rid of the cover for this auction because we're never going to bid. This was a bit of a defensive problem, if anything. So South opened a club, North bid a heart, South bid a spade, North bid a no trump, and South bid 3 no trump. So I'm on lead. I decide to lead 4th best for my longest and strongest, which was a diamond. 6 of diamonds lead, and this very sketchy dummy hits the table. It's a 15 count, and it does have 7 tricks in it, but with partner being a passed hand, you're asking an awful lot from a partner who could only bid 1 heart and then 1 no trump as a passed hand to end up making 3 no trump. South is basically playing their partner for like 2 aces, both red aces, in this auction, which seems pretty unlikely. Why not just bid 3 clubs as South? That is an excellent question. That's a very excellent question. But maybe they've seen us defend before. Maybe that's the rationale for it. So the 6 of diamonds goes to the 10, ace, and 2. And Kurt now continues the 5 of diamonds, which goes 9, jack, spade discard. So I'm in at trick 3, and I have a decision to make, right? The 5 of diamonds is consistent with partner having started with ace 5-4 in the diamond suit. And so if that's the case, I really need partner to get in to play another diamond throw, because then Declare would have started with queen 9 4th, which seems somewhat likely. Not only given the auction where North had bid a no trump, so they're somewhat likely to have a diamond stopper, But also based on the fact that, partners played ace of diamonds, five of diamonds, right? We'll get into some other considerations in just a minute, but it seems somewhat likely that Declare does have the diamond queen, and therefore partner's five of diamonds is basically only consistent with North having queen nine fourth to start. Partner would have returned fourth best, the four of diamonds, if they started with ace, whatever the other spot is, 7-5-4 in the diamond suit. So the five of diamonds is either fourth best from partner having the queen to start with, ace queen 7-5, or highest from his remaining doubleton, ace 5-4, to begin. Well, I have the decision to make, and I decided that it seemed pretty likely Declare had the diamond queen, so continuing the king wouldn't really help out our cause. I gave a little bit of thought to switching to the king of hearts, but I was a little bit concerned if I switched to the king of hearts, Declare might be able to win and then knock out my other heart honor, eventually crossing to their hand with a club, either the 10 of clubs or like the third or fourth round of clubs, and then Declare would have extra heart tricks to pitch spades. So I settled on just playing partner for the spade king, which seemed like a, pretty reasonable attempt. When I led the eight of spades, Declare was able to face their hand and claim 10 tricks. They got all three spades now, based on my spade switch, that they weren't going to get earlier if I had, say, switched to the king of hearts. And on top of that, obviously, they didn't have a diamond stopper. The important point on this hand, though, which we were able to discuss afterward, is that at trick one, sometimes it can be very beneficial in these no trump contracts to play the queen, or like second hand high, or third hand second highest on defense. Because, for one thing, if Declare happens to have the king, you force out the stopper immediately, right? And now Declare, like, if you play ace of diamonds, diamond, and Declare has the king, they'll be able to hold up. So that's often something you don't want to do. You just want to force out their stoppers immediately so that you have control and communication in the suit. Maybe a little bit more useful when you're holding as ace queen third than ace queen fourth. But secondly, it also resolves this like really awful ambiguous situation, right? The queen of diamonds at this point holds trick one, and now you can continue the ace of diamonds and then continue a third diamond, and partner just gets to run the diamond suit. Partner has no guess whatsoever anymore on the hand. So kind of an interesting position that did come up, and unfortunately we got it wrong at the table. But, sometimes these things happen. Sometimes you just have to guess, and you will frequently guess wrong. So those are three hands from our afternoon set. We ended up with a 51, I think, in the afternoon. And then we had our 5-minute break to get dinner. So this was a hand I held. I was in third seat. Partner ended up opening. Oh boy. Partner opened a diamond. And West passed. Is this gonna... Nope, that's perfect. Great. So we bid a heart, of course. We don't have any sort of fancy system where I can game force with two clubs or whatever, and that just makes things easier. So I just have to bid a heart with this hand. Partner ends up jumping to three clubs, and it comes passed back to me. So we have a bit of a decision. First, given that partner's jump shifts are, well, not only strong, but tend to be real hands as opposed to like robot jump shifts, I've found that hands where you're in the slam zone, you really, really, really want to find a fit immediately. And so if you can convince your partner that some suit is trumps, whether or not you actually want that suit to be trumps, it just makes the rest of the auction easier. You can start Q bidding, you can bid key card, partner can start planning out the auction, or you can start planning out the auction. So for that reason, rather than bidding, say, 3 no trump or whatever it is that, or 4 no trump or whatever I'm supposed to do that might show this hand or be a little bit more descriptive, I just bid 3 diamonds to start out the proceedings. Partner bid 3 spades. Clearly, partner's kind of looking for 3 no trump and hoping that I'll be able to bid it. Obviously, our hand's a little bit too strong to just sign off in 3 no. So, once again, I just really wanted to confirm what was going on in the hand and bid 4 diamonds to say diamonds are trumps. Well, partner didn't exactly get the memo. So partner ended up bidding 5 diamonds. And now we have our first decision point on this hand, because we have a lot of stuff, but we don't have a lot of stuff in partner suits, right? Imagine if partner really is something like 1, 3, 5, 4 in shape. I mean, we've got a lot of controls. We have no losers in the major suits, but can partner really cover all of our minor suit losers? And now we can't bid keycard anymore because partner has bid 5 diamonds. So the only way that we can actually get to slams here is, first, we have to take a bid over 5 diamonds, which I felt pretty comfortable doing. But secondly, we have to cube it our way up to whatever contract we reach, and whether 6 diamonds, 6 no trump, 7 diamonds, or 7 no trump is correct, we're going to be gambling a little bit based on, how we feel the auction has gone. Ooh, you know what I can do? We have a scroll bar. Can I do this? So over 5 diamonds, because I felt obligated to continue bidding, I mean, again, I think I'm forcing to slam when partner jumps to 3 clubs, so I'm happy to bid 5 hearts at this point, which fetched 5 spades from partner. Well, here we are. So we, of course, could sign off in 6 diamonds. We could bid 6 no trump. We could try and cube it again. And if we do cube it again, I mean, it's probably 6 spades, maybe. But I spent a little while thinking about what was going on in this auction, and eventually just settled on this idea that partner must have a pretty distributional hand, given that he just went to 5 diamonds. He didn't cubed clubs along the way, but it's hard for me to imagine that he doesn't have the ace of clubs on this type of auction, because, I mean, honestly, what can he have for his jump shift if he doesn't have the club ace and a bunch of diamond honors? So I constructed a couple of hands, and basically all of them contained the ace, king, queen of diamonds and the ace of clubs, and that led me to eventually settle on 7 diamonds as my final bid, thinking that, well, in the worst case scenario, maybe partner has the ace, queen of clubs and we're on a club hook. Hopefully we can ruff a club with my jack of diamonds if necessary, and just figuring that we might have a chance for 13 tricks. Well, I was correct that Grand Slam was where we wanted to be on this hand, but I unfortunately had gotten to the wrong Grand Slam. A little bit of the wrong Grand Slam. So this was the full hand. One sec. Boom. So this was partner's hand. He had 7 solid diamonds and the ace, king, third of clubs. We just had 13 top tricks on this one and no trump. And 7 diamonds did come home. And to complete our discussion, yes, 7 diamonds was 100% of the match points. So none of the field reached 7 no trump. Some portion of the field reached 6 no trump, but in fact, most of the field was playing in 3 no trump on the north-south cards, which I can kind of understand. If the auction starts a diamond, a heart, 3 diamonds, which I don't know if that's a good bid or not, North is in a bit of a bind. And, North might bid 3 spades to show a spade stopper, and South might bid 3 no, and North might figure, well, I have 14, but partner only jumped to 3 diamonds, and I don't have great clubs, so let's just let this sit. And so a lot of the field was actually in 3 no trump, making all 13 tricks, which is crazy to me when we have 13 off the top. But anyway, we were the only pair in the field to reach the Grand Slam, which did earn us 100% board. So that was kind of a nice one to start with. Yeah, so this was super early in the week. So this was against Adam Grossack sitting in the east seat over here on my left, and his client over there in the west seat. So I held this north hand, and the auction started. Oh. The auction started a no trump, pass. Duh. There we go. Pass 2 clubs to me. Well, I figured favorable. I really wanted to get in a lead directing bid, and 2 hearts looked like a reasonable attempt at doing that. I mean, obviously we could still have, this could still be our hand, but, you know, given the 2 club bid, which tends to be made on values, I thought it was fairly likely they were headed towards 3 no trump, and I really wanted to get the heart lead in. Like, if partner leads a diamond, declare wins, knocks out my ace of spades, I switch to hearts, knocks out my king of spades, I switch to hearts, we're tempo too slow. So if partner has 3 small hearts, I really need to get a heart lead at trick 1. So I ended up bidding 2 hearts, which might be a little bit scary. Definitely a little bit worried when the double hit, but it went pass, 3 no trump by West. Given the vulnerability, not that surprising, and 3 no trump ends up passing out. So partner does oblige with the heart opening lead. Unfortunately, the hearts were not laid out as I had hoped. Partner led the 7 of hearts. So it looks like hearts are 5-4-2-2 around the table, or maybe 5-5-2-1. I guess that would be the disaster scenario, but 5-4-2-2 is kind of what we hope for. Fortunately, with the 7 of hearts in partner's hand and the 8 from West, Declarer's ace-king 9-4 is actually not good enough to take 3 tricks on its own. Declarer played low at trick 1. I put in the 10. He won the king. Led a spade. Partner played the 2. And remember, we're playing standard signals. So the 2 of spades went to the 10, my king. I continued the queen of hearts just to cut communication in the heart suit. To the ace, 3 and 8. Declarer continued the 6 of spades to the 8 and 9. And now I had my first think. It looked as if partner started with jack 8, 3rd of spades. So if I win the ace, Declarer eventually is going to cash the queen of spades, the jack will fall, and the 7 of spades will set up. Whereas if I duck the ace of spades, at least Declarer is going to have a little bit of guesswork to do. He'll need to decide if he should exit the queen of spades, pinning my partner's jack, or the 7 of spades, hoping that I started with ace 3rd. So for that reason, I ended up ducking this trick. And Adam, thought for a little bit, eventually played the 7 of spades off dummy. So I was feeling pretty good. I thought he had misguessed at this point. I played the 4, he played the jack, and partner pitched a diamond. And this, fortunately, this was like genius defense from me. I didn't realize it at the time, but now that I've failed to rectify the count for Declarer, eventually I will get in with this king of clubs, and the ace of spades is going to cause Declarer a little bit of trouble. Because remember, East is still sitting on the 9 doubleton of hearts in his hand, so whenever we play the spade ace, he can't pitch a heart, and therefore he's going to have to let go one of his holdings in the minor suits. So after going to the tank for what must have been 5 minutes at this point, Adam eventually emerges with the jack of clubs to hit the table. And so I was thinking, this is great, I'm going to win the king of clubs, I cash the spade ace, and Declarer has to come down to a 6-card holding, where he must keep 2 hearts, so he can only keep 4 cards in the minor suits. Well, it looks like at this point, Declare has the king, queen of diamonds, and, well, the jack of clubs, and maybe not much else. So if Declare pitches a diamond, he's going to come down to king, queen, doubleton of diamonds, and then maybe we can knock out the club ace to strand the ace of diamonds in dummy. This was my thought. Partner, before I could finish thinking through all these possibilities, puts the queen of clubs on this trick. And Adam calls for a low club. And now I got super confused about what was happening, because it seems very unnatural to play the queen of clubs here. So I started thinking that partner probably had the 10 of clubs in his hand. And if that was the case, the squeeze would still operate. I could win the king of clubs and play the ace of spades and Declare, once again, if he ends up pitching a club, then, I mean, not only do we just get to exit clubs and set up that suit, but yeah, I mean, he'll basically be forced to let go of whatever his club holding is, like 9 doubleton. He'll have to pitch down to singleton 9. I play a club, it goes 9, 10 ace, and my 8 of clubs sets up, right? So that would be one possibility. And of course, if Declare pitches a diamond, I play a club back, and when Declare, puts in whatever he does, partner's 10 forces out the ace from dummy, and once again, the ace of diamonds gets stranded. So I was just like, this is great. I don't know why partner played the queen of clubs. I was planning on winning the club king anyway, but the squeeze still works. So I won the king of clubs, I cashed the spade ace, and Declare claimed. And so we can step back a couple of tricks to see what was going on from Adam's perspective, now that we've seen how the hand actually played out. So Adam led the jack of clubs, and I bet his whole thought process at the time was, oh, maybe this guy will end up covering the jack of clubs with the queen, which is what happened. I've since talked through this with Kurt, and he knows that covering the jack of clubs probably isn't such a good idea in this spot. But he realized that if it had gone queen of clubs and he had played the ace and then led a low club back towards his hand, I would fly the king of clubs. And now the ace of spades does squeeze him legitimately. So even though he's been able to set up his 9th trick with this 10 of clubs, he can't keep it. If he pitches a heart, I get to run the heart suit. If he pitches diamond, now the diamonds are blocked, so I just exit to Declare his hand and get 2 hearts at the end. And if he pitches the 10 of clubs, that's the trick he just set up. I can continue a club and partner cashes a couple of club tricks. So there really wasn't anything that Adam could have done in this position to make his contract legitimately by leading the jack of clubs. He just kind of had to hope that, some sort of defensive mistake happened. And that's exactly what went down. We both squandered our club honors on the first trick. Now, I realized afterwards, and, maybe should have thought about this more at the table, that obviously I could have just played the 4 of clubs at this point. And then partner's on lead. As long as he doesn't lead a diamond, we're all okay, right? Like, oddly enough, if partner switches to diamonds rather than knocking out the club ace and dummy, my hand is the one that gets squeezed on 3 rounds of diamonds, because he'll be able to run 3 rounds of diamonds, eventually end up in West's hand, where he'll have ace doubleton of clubs, a diamond, and the queen of spades, and he can throw me in with the spade queen to lead away from the king of clubs. So partner needs to continue a club at this point, but hopefully that should be automatic once the queen of clubs holds the trick. Anyway, this was not the greatest defense of all time, but I thought that it was a very fascinating hand because, depending on how the play goes, either north or east is the one that gets squeezed in the end position on some of these deals. So that was our second set of pairs that we played for the day. And we averaged, so I think we got a 57 or so in the evening, 57%. So we averaged about 54, which was good enough for, 7th or 8th place overall, whatever it was, out of 30 tables or something like that. Not a bad performance, ultimately. And we did pick up a handful of gold points. But we came back Wednesday. We still didn't have teammates. I mean, there was no one at the tournament. Very few people that I knew. The only people that I did know were already committed to sponsored teams or sponsored to play in pairs. So we were having a little bit of difficulty getting teammates. But fortunately on Wednesday, as we were sitting down to play pairs, we had already got our entry. An old friend from the local DC, Washington, DC area came up to me and was just like, hey, do you want to play teams? Go turn your entry back in. Let's get a team entry. And I will pull up a picture of our team because we took a team photo. Here we go. This is, oh my God, the black marks. I just completely blotted out half the team with black boxes. But yeah, so this was our team. We took this later in the week. This was a hand from our semifinals match. So we had won both of the matches on day one. So, they'll kind of jumble you around. So it's not like the top seeded team plays against the bottom seeded team. It's just all kind of random. But we ended up winning both of our first two matches on Wednesday morning and afternoon. And we did, in fact, play another evening pair session, a 3-session day on Wednesday, because Kurt asked to play some more pairs. He wanted to get his match point fix in. But this was from Thursday morning in our semifinals match of bracket 2. Yeah, so this is my hand, and we're going to have a little bit of difficulty showing off this auction while keeping my hand on screen, but I guess we'll get there. So partner in first seat, opened a club. And over to me, I bet a heart, kind of as expected. Partner bid 4 diamonds. Oh God, this is the worst system ever. I don't think this is going to work out very well. Anyway, so partner splinters 4 diamonds. And I honestly don't have a very good hand, but there are some positive things that I have. I have some pretty good trumps. Oftentimes, partner's going to produce a bunch of trump honors for these splinters. And so the king, queen of hearts, this jack of hearts could come into play if partner has long clubs. Imagine partner has a hand that's the ace of spades, the king, queen of hearts, and the ace, king of clubs with long clubs. We might be able to pull 3 rounds of trumps, rough out the clubs, take a spade finesse, maybe, if necessary, and partner's hand's going to be good at that point. Something to that effect. And of course, partner could have a diamond void, so, similar type hand, we might not even need the spade finesse. It could be for an overtrick and a slam. I spent a little while thinking, and based on the amount of time I spent thinking, I felt like I didn't want to bar partner from the auction by signing off in 4 hearts. So I ended up faking a spade cupid, which isn't as crazy as it sounds. A lot of players will... Sorry, you can't see my hand. Queen, jack, third of spades is what I've got. Faking the spade cupid is not so crazy. Queen, jack, third is almost a control, and especially is a control when partner's kind of marked with either the ace or the king in the suit, which seems pretty likely on this hand. And maybe they just don't lead a spade and partner has solid clubs and we get to pitch all of my spade losers or something. In retrospect, I think I should have signed off 4 hearts, but regardless, I just really didn't want to bar partner on this type of auction. So I did bid 4 spades, partner bid 5 clubs. At this point, I was kind of happy to be done. I signed off in 5 hearts, but partner bid 6 hearts, which ended the auction. And... hold up. Let me just fix my black bars. There we go. We got the 3 of hearts lead, and this was the dummy that hit. And I was pretty excited when this dummy came down. So I spent a little bit of time at trick 1 thinking about how I was going to go about playing the hand. I mean, obviously, I want to set up clubs, but it's very possible I won't need the spade finesse if hearts are 3-2 and the clubs come home for just 1 loser. As in, I don't need to ruff the club suit at all in my hand, right? We could end up taking 6 clubs, 3 trumps, the ace of spades for 10 tricks, and ruff a spade in my hand, ruff a diamond and dummy for 12 tricks. So I eventually decided I kind of wanted to play on clubs immediately rather than testing hearts, or rather than pulling trumps. So after thinking for about 2 minutes, I played the 2 of hearts off dummy and north pitched. And that was very disappointing. So after being in what looked like a fairly good contract and one that might have had some chance, the 5-0 trump split just meant there was way too much work to do. We don't have a long suit to run through South, so there's no way to physically pick up South's remaining 4 trumps. So we are just going to be down 1 at the very least, and we might end up down more depending on how the rest of the hand plays. I will reveal the full hand just for the sake of seeing how things went. I continued by setting up the clubs, club to the ace, club. North got in and switched to the 9 of spades, which I covered, queen, king, ace. I then played a club pitching a diamond as South roughed in with his natural trump trick. And at this point, if South had continued a spade, things would have been very easy for me. I win the jack of spades, but now because South is down to the same number of trumps as in dummy, I could just pull trumps and all the clubs run. Maybe, unfortunately, South found a diamond switch, but South did not find the correct diamond switch. South switched to the ace of diamonds, which allowed me to ruff with the 10 of hearts, play a spade to the jack, and lead the jack of diamonds out of hand. Now maybe South should work this out and cover the jack of diamonds with the king, but this South was not particularly up to the task and ended up playing low. I pitched my club, and now I was able to claim 11 tricks on a cross ruff, high cross ruff, with all of my high trumps to get out for down 1. Interestingly enough, we won 3 imps on this board because at the other table, they managed to get all the way up to 5 hearts on our hands east-west, and after the ace of diamonds lead, Declare managed to go down 2, taking only 9 tricks in that contract. So we could have had a huge win on this board if we were able to stay out of slam, and probably should have stayed out of slam if I had signed off in 4 hearts over 4 diamonds. Maybe. It's questionable. But ultimately we did win 3 imps on this one. Partner was the dealer, and partner opened 1 heart. I bid a spade, of course. Partner bid 2 hearts. And what did I do? Apparently, this might be one of the ones where I don't have the auction quite right. I guess I bid 2 no trump. I'm just trying to kind of reconstruct auctions that make sense based on the hands I hold. Partner bid 3 diamonds. And, oh no. And I bid 3 no, which passed out. So that was the whole auction. Left-hand opponent was on lead, and for whatever reason, left-hand opponent decided that it was a good idea on this auction to lead the king of spades. So this was the dummy that hit. Not a thing of beauty. Maybe we would have preferred to play in a different contract, but this was, I think, approximately the dummy. Again, maybe some artistic ability here in reconstructing some of these hands from the team events. But king of spades opening lead, so if we count our tricks, even if I pick up the diamond suit, I only have 4 diamonds, 2 hearts, a spade, and a club. And it looks like if I were to try and set up the hearts and dummy, the opponents would just score too many tricks. Obviously, the king of spades is from king, queen, 10. Otherwise, like, why would West be leading the king of spades into my spade bid? So if I try and set up the heart suit, the opponents are going to be able to take at least 2 hearts, at least 2 spades, and probably a club by the time I'm able to do everything, because I'll have to lose the lead a couple of times in hearts, and they won't have to lose the lead to cash their spades. So if I won the spade ace at trick 1, for example, played a diamond to the 10 and it held, and then ducked a heart, it looks like it's going to be challenging. But anyway, I decided to duck trick 1. I mean, first of all, West might not be able to read East's signal. I think they were playing standard, in which case, like, West might just continue spades into my ace-jack, and now I'll be on picking out the queen of diamonds finesse. So I dump the 6 of spades. West switches to the queen of clubs. Great. This has gone from bad to worse. Queen of clubs got overtaken with the king, and I decided to duck this trick. I didn't think that there was going to be much chance of me making it at this point, but I was just mostly trying to get out for down as few as possible. Hopefully I can guess the diamond queen, get out for down 1. East continued the jack of clubs. I ducked again, and West showed out on this trick, pitching a diamond, which was surprising to me. East continued the 10 of clubs again. I played the ace, and West continued pitching diamonds, which was a little bit shocking. So to me, this kind of looked as if West was worried about pitching hearts and obviously didn't want to discard spades from their king, queen, 10, 4th or whatever that they started with. So I pitched a heart from dummy and realized that I didn't really have a chance against good defense, and in fact, I probably shouldn't have a chance against any defense, but the line of play I took at least forced the opponents to make some discards and hopefully gave me some chance of making. So I led the jack of diamonds. I wasn't planning on running this trick. I was probably going to play the king, but West decided to cover with the queen. Again, surprising, given that West has pitched diamonds so far. King of diamonds held. Played a diamond to the ace as East pitched a spade. Played a diamond to the 10 as West pitched a heart at this point. West, of course, out of diamonds, started with 4 of them, and their singleton club. East pitched a club. And now, unfortunately, being in dummy for the last time, I think I need to cash the ace-king of hearts. It doesn't look like one of these hands where I can just play a diamond to the 9 and the opponents are going to give me the entire spade suit. I, unfortunately, have not rectified the count for that to happen. Maybe if I had ducked another club, West would have been in an uncomfortable situation. If they started with like queen, jack, 4th of hearts and king, queen, 10, 4th of spades, then it's possible that a diamond to the 9 would bring home the entire spade suit. But having not done that, I just unfortunately had to reveal the secret, which was that I had a heart void. So I played the ace of hearts, played the king of hearts, and crossed back to my hand with a diamond to the 9 as East pitched a spade and West pitched a heart. So after all of this, West, having seen my entire hand, decides not to keep the good 10 of hearts, which was a winner, but instead to come down to king, 3rd of spades. So I exited the 7 of spades. West, in desperation, tried the 4. East had no more spades. It is worth noting, and I will mention this because Craig was talking about opponents raging earlier. I specifically exited the 7 of spades instead of the jack, both of which were equivalent in this end position. Here, oh my god, how do I show the whole hand? Yeah, there we go. Like, I could have exited the jack of spades just as well. West would win the queen and be end played into leading away from the 10. But the 7 of spades is incredibly more tilting because, remember, on the very previous trick, East had pitched the 8 of spades. So if East still had the 8 of spades, as West made sure to point out to him at the table, then by exiting the 7 of spades, I would have gone down. East would have won the 8 of spades and cashed out, and I would have been down too. So Important skill. Make sure you learn how to make your opponents rage at the table by doing equivalent things that will cause one of them to throw temper tantrum. That is the lesson to be learned on this hand. But anyway, I made 3 no trump. This was actually a fairly pivotal board in carrying us to a win in our semifinal match. So we did move on to the finals of the bracket 2 knockout. You're south, which is Kurt. And in first seat, you open a no trump. Auction continues. Pass, 2 hearts. Partner transfers to spades. So you bid 2 spades. And partner bids 3 no. And you have your first decision to make. Do you pull it to 4 spades, or do you let 3 no go? Well, you're 4 triple 3, so that kind of indicates playing no trump. But, counterpoint, you have some strong spades, your values are fairly concentrated in the major suits, and you're also looking at 3 small clubs. And additionally, you don't play any sort of system over these transfers, like you don't play transfers over transfers or anything like that. So your partner could be distributional and just didn't want to bid his 4-card minor, for example. Partner could easily be 5-3-1-4 or something like that, in which case 4 spades will probably play better than 3 no trump. So anyway, Kurt decided to pass, and 3 no trump did end the auction. And he got the Jack of Clubs lead. Wonderful. I mean, it looks like 4 spades is probably on guessing the Queen of Spades, losing 3 club tricks, and 3 no trump might also be on guessing the Queen of Spades. Although, you know, depending on what's going on in the club suit, we might lose 5 clubs off the top. Yeah, this is kind of like the Kit Woolsey articles a little bit. Now, Kurt, I know for a fact, Kurt likes to play no trump on balanced hand. Like, he doesn't think a lot about the variation in hands that his partner can hold. He spends a lot of time thinking about, like, what does his hand want to do? And so for that reason, he looks at this hand and says, it's a 4-3-3, therefore I want to play no trump as opposed to a suit contract. Which I don't even know if that would be right at a match point perspective, but at teams, I do like 4 spades on the south cards. Either way, Schmeeble. I like Kit Woolsey's articles. I mean, they're like the best source of like high level discussion outside of this here stream. But they are sometimes a little bit silly in the way that they read. Where Kit tends to not follow his own advice on a large number of hands. So I think that's one of the reasons that people don't like them a lot. Anyway, so Jack of Clubs was led at trick 1. That's also true. Yeah, a lot of his opinions are very much not mainstream. So it's can be difficult to learn from them, but I think I think it's a good source of like high-level discussion. You know, you probably shouldn't post a comment on the articles and expect reasonable feedback on your comment, but in terms of just like learning about, you know, new system stuff or learning about declare play things, like sure, the articles are good. So Jack of Clubs was led and Kurt had to manage this hand. Jack of Clubs went low, low, low. Another club was continued. Went to East Ace, and East switched to the Jack of Hearts. Now, important point here. So, Kurt, after the hand, said that he had a 100% line of play from this point. What are your thoughts as a viewer? Do you have a 100% line of play? It's interesting, right? I mean, East obviously would have returned a club if they had another one to cash out the club suit. But in a bracket 1 knockout, I think there's probably a pretty good reason that East should not return a club here a large percentage of the time. And that is if East has the spade queen. Because East wants you to take the spade finesse into their hand. So if East has the queen of spades and they have another club, they know that cashing out the clubs is only going to net their side 2 more tricks and 4 tricks total. But sometimes, I mean, it might depend on what their carding is and how confident they are that their partner started with exactly 4 of them. But if East has the spade queen, they really want you to take that spade finesse into them, get that spade trick in, and then they'll be able to score 4 clubs to beat the contracted trick. So be careful that sometimes strong opponents will not cash out the suit they led against no trump because it's not enough to beat the contract, especially at imps. But in this case, we were playing in bracket 2, not bracket 1. So Kurt was correct. He won the ace of hearts, ran the jack of spades, which held, continued the king of spades, West dropped the queen, and, oh, yeah, okay, important point here. So West clearly has the missing club honor, right? Given that clubs are 5-2, it's pretty likely that East actually happens to have heart length, right? East either has 4 or 5 hearts. I mean, it's very possible that West has 4 clubs and 4 hearts, but fairly unlikely, in which case you can guarantee to make all the rest of the tricks on an automatic double squeeze against the opponents. And that's exactly what Kurt ended up doing on this hand. He ended up cashing the king of hearts. And so he was familiar with these types of squeeze end positions, so he carefully cashed the king of hearts, played the queen of hearts, pitching a diamond from dummy, and then he ran all of his spades, spade to the ace, 9 of spades pitching a club, and on the very last spade, these were the cards that remained. He cashed the king of diamonds first, of course, just to make everything absolutely crystal clear. And now when the last spade was cashed, East couldn't afford to pitch the 10 of hearts. That would set up declares 5, so he pitched a diamond. And West, and now that the 5 of hearts was let go, West, of course, can't afford to pitch the king of clubs, so he also had to pitch a diamond. So partner was able to play a diamond to the ace, 6 of diamonds took the last trick, and he made 11 tricks. It was a team match, 660 versus 630. Probably didn't make a huge difference in the match, but it's always nice to be able to pull off some of these plays that you look at in practice, like squeezes, one of your first times at the table. So well done, partner, on that one, for sure. This was my hand. I was in first seat. The auction started. Pass, a heart. Partner made a takeout double. This is impossible to work with. All right, there we go. So pass, a heart. Partner made a takeout double. I decided to redouble. I'm a passed hand, and it didn't feel like any other bid was particularly descriptive. Of course, I could bid 2 diamonds here, but East is a passed hand. West has made a takeout double. We don't have a heart fit. I have some aces. I was somewhat tempted to try and go after the opponents if they ended up in the wrong spot. Right? Like if East-West don't have a spade fit, they're forced to the 2 level in a minor, and that could be great for us. So anyway, I started with redouble. The auction proceeded. A spade by East, no surprise. Partner, surprising me, bids 2 spades with his hand. Just artificial game force. Well, this is a little bit of a strange bid. Because again, most of the time this redouble is going to indicate that we might want to penalize the opponents. So it kind of looked to me like partner was pretty short in spades. Either way, my bid is fairly clear at this point. I bid 3 diamonds to get my diamond suit in the picture. Partner bid 3 hearts. And now I have my first decision. I mean, It's match points. We may as well look for 3 no trump, right? So I tried 3 spades, seeing if partner had a spade stopper. Partner bid 4 clubs. Well, what do we do over 4 clubs? I mean, I've denied having as many as 3 hearts at this point in the auction. I've probably denied as much as having honor doubleton of hearts. So I figured 4 hearts probably made a lot of sense. Just offering that as a choice to play. And partner bid 5 diamonds over 4 hearts. Well, this threw me for a bit of a loop. My first thought was 5 diamonds has to be a Q bid in support of hearts. But the more I looked at the hand, it felt fairly impossible for partner to have a hand that was worth Q bidding over 4 hearts, and yet couldn't Q bid spades or clubs. So if 5 diamonds wasn't a Q bid in support of hearts, what's the other alternative? I mean, it's got to be natural, right? Partner bid 2 spades because, you know, maybe he was 1, 5, 3, 4 in shape and didn't know what else to do over the redouble or over the 1 spade bid. And then he decided to bid 3 hearts over 3 diamonds just because he, you know, had a good 5-card heart suit. Maybe he's ace, king, queen, 5th. And then over 3 spades, he bid 4 clubs for whatever reason. Possibly kind of intending that as a Q bid in diamonds. And then over 4 hearts, he corrected back to 5 diamonds, thinking like, okay, like diamonds has always been trump the entire time through. So that's eventually what I settled on, was that almost had to be what partner was doing with the hand, for better or worse. And so I ended up passing out 5 diamonds. And voila, this was partner's hand. So partner was intending 5 diamonds as exclusion in support of hearts. We were so close to doing this right, but yeah, this is a little bit of the difficulty with new partnerships sometimes, is that a lot of these auctions are undiscussed. And so Kurt and I specifically talked after this board about what to do in new partnerships with like undiscussed auctions, that like generally bids tend to be natural, and that you should try and make things as unambiguous for partners possible. Good lesson for all bridge players, of course. So we end up playing in 5 diamonds. Now, I played the hell out of this hand. You might not believe it, but I escaped for down 2. Jack of spades went to the queen and ace. A club came back. I won. Ace of diamonds and a diamond. Spade back to the king. Club to the ace. Diamond. Spade. We won the 10. We exited the last trump and they split. But West was still able to end play dummy by leading a club at this point. He didn't. He returned a spade, so I was able to take the heart finesse. 9 tricks. Easy game. We got a 0 on it. No surprise. But this was an amusing hand to start out our evening pairs set. And then, despite only playing 18 boards in this session, they charged us a full entry, $30 entry to play, or $30 a person. And was it a person or a pair? Whatever it was, they charged us the full entry price. They only paid 18 boards. But despite that, and despite having a 0 on the first board, we did end up with another 72% game. Board 2. So I'm once again north. The auction has started. Whoop. A heart, double, a no trump. To me. Well, I don't have much, so I passed. The auction continues. Pass, 2 diamonds by East. Partner bids 3 clubs. So partner's got a good hand. I mean, he's unfavorable, and in the midst of 2 bidding opponents has doubled and bid a new suit. He has a big hand. He continues 4 hearts by West. Now the opponents could have a 3-card limit raise for the way this auction has gone. It kind of sounds like they do. And it honestly kind of sounds like West probably has a diamond fit with his partner. So I started thinking about hands, and I realized that if we really do have a double fit in the black suits, we're probably somewhat likely to make something over here. I mean, maybe I could get away with doubling 4 hearts and beating this a trick, but I decided to go for kind of the gold on this one, looking for a game our way. So I figured on the way to 5 clubs, it didn't hurt to bid 4 spades, because having not bid 2 spades originally, partner knows I don't have like Queen, Jack, 10, 6 of spades over here, right? I would have done something over 1 no trump with that hand, maybe jump to 3 spades preemptive, or maybe just bid 2 spades or something like that. So 4 spades is basically like a club fit with some spade stuff. Partner corrected to 5 clubs, which went, I'll pass. And the opening lead was, we'll shift over to partner's perspective for the opening lead here. So this was partner's hand. Doesn't look that bad, right? You know, opposite our hand, we have a spade loser. We have a heart finesse through the opening heart bidder. And we have a diamond loser. So as long as the trumps are 2-1, we're in great shape. Well, we got the King of Hearts lead. And not only did this, of course, blow up a heart trick, given that the King of Hearts was offside, but now partner was able to pitch his diamond loser on the 3rd round of hearts. He won the Ace of Hearts, cashed the Ace of Clubs, was able to pull the 2nd round of trumps with the King of Clubs, unblock the Jack of Hearts, get back to his hand by roughing a spade, pitch the diamond loser, and make 12 tricks. So had West just made a normal lead of a low heart, of course 5 clubs would have made. That would have been sad news for the opposition, but he wouldn't have given up the over trick, which is a big deal at match points. So 620 was worth quite a few match points on this deal. So this is my hand, and I know what you're thinking. How did you end up declaring this hand? Well, let me tell you. So partner was in first seat. Yep. Partner was in first seat and opened a diamond. And it came past to me, and I bid a spade. And it went past 2 spades. And that was it. That was the entirety of the auction. No one else bid. We're playing in 2 spades. No problem. Partner passed Stamen. Yeah, could be. That would have been a pretty good guess, honestly. So here we are. We're in 2 spades. East leads the King of Diamonds at trick 1. Lovely. So not only do we have no values, but we're in a 4-3 fit. So after the King of Diamonds, I played the Ace, and West played the Jack on this trick. Well, having the singleton 10 in my hand, I knew exactly what was going on. Unfortunately, to make some number of tricks on this deal, I really need to rough some diamonds in my hand. So even though diamonds are definitely 7-1, and East never had an opportunity to bid diamonds, because all of the diamond bids would have been Q bids, at least in their system, I really need to start roughing diamonds and using my entry to do so immediately. So I led a diamond, and West, to my dismay, pitched a club. I was really sad at this point, because my hope was that I could get 3 diamond roughs, a club trick, if the clubs were 2-2, and they didn't get a rough, the Ace of Diamonds, and 3 spade tricks, and I might make my contract. I mean, down 1 would be great too, but you know, like, that was at least my plan. Anyway, I roughed the diamond, I led the Jack of Clubs, hoping that East had the Ace. Seems pretty reasonable, right? So East played low, I popped up with the King, and West won the Ace. Great. Well, West continued the 3 of hearts. So, not pulling trumps. Okay, not the end of the world for me. Still might have some chances. I put in the 10. East won the queen. And East continued the queen of diamonds. And I'm just like, awesome. They're doing God's work for him. So I played the 5. West pitched another club. So East had started with a singleton club and did not lead it. Interesting, right? And 7 diamonds, of course. So I ruffed with the 4 of spades. I exited the Jack of hearts, thinking that I really wanted East to be on lead. So East won the ace. And continued another diamond. This is going wonderfully. So West pitched a heart. I ruffed. I ruffed the 6 of hearts and dummy for my 5th trick. And I still have the ace of spades as a 6th trick, but I mean, things are looking a little bit grim. I led the 4 of clubs. West ruffed. I put up the queen, and East over-ruffed with the king. And now here's the full hand. So, East. East. Okay. Here's... So obviously East is end played into giving me a rough sluff and a red suit, allowing me to score all of my high trumps separately. So they led a diamond, I ruffed the 10 of spades, and I claimed 2 more high trumps. No. So here was the discussion after the hand, right? So the discussion was, why did you over-ruff the 3 of spades? And East says, oh, declare a ruffed, so I had to ruff higher than the queen. And then West agreed, so that was the end of the discussion. Both opponents felt like very happy with what had happened on this deal. You know, obviously they're making game in both red suits, but, you know, that's a separate factor. They felt very happy about the way the defense has gone. There was nothing they could have done differently. And yeah, that was just a great result. Plus 110 was 100% of the match points. This is a wonderful hand. So this was from the finals of the Bracket 2 knockout. We were playing against... I mean, they were an okay team, definitely. Like, I'm definitely a Bracket 1 player, so, you know, to me, a lot of Bracket 2 players are, like, pretty weak. As we can have seen from a couple of the... hands so far, but this Bracket 2 team played fairly well, at least against us. But here was one of the hands that we held. Could I say Blue Yeti more like an 80-year-old man saying iPad? It's a Blue Yeti? Did you catch that? Maybe that's clippable. Alright, so I was in first seat. I opened a heart. And let's see. The auction proceeded. 2 diamonds by North. So my partner, game forcing 5 or more diamonds, promised. So I bid 2 spades. Partner bid 3 diamonds. And I bid 3 spades to complete the description of my hand. Partner now bid 4 clubs. And I think 4 clubs, we had talked about the sense, but I think 4 clubs probably should be a slam try in one of the majors. Like partner with hearts and a slam try shouldn't be forced to bid 4 hearts here, or 5 hearts, to show slam interest. And similarly with spades and slam interest, he shouldn't be forced to bid 4 spades or 5 spades. So we really want to get these slam tries off our chest, and utilizing 4 clubs as that type of bid makes a lot of sense to me. So I think a very reasonable way for partner to continue the auction is that I should almost always bid 4 diamonds with my hand, and partner should then bid 4 of a major to show what his hand is. But we hadn't had this discussion ahead of time. So anyway, I bid 4 diamonds. Partner ended up jumping to 5 hearts. Oh. Hold on, I can maybe scroll the screen. Ooh. There we go. 4 diamonds. Partner jumped to 5 hearts. 5 hearts exclusion, yes. Yeah, I was nervous about it. But I did raise 5 hearts to 6. I mean, maybe there's a rationale for me to be looking for a grand slam, but because we were in, like, uncertain territory, I also didn't want to make one of these bids that might have been misinterpreted from partner's perspective. So I didn't want to bid 5 spades and have that get passed, or have partner bid 6 spades over 5 spades or something, or have partner bid 6 diamonds and now I don't know what trump is. So I just decided to bid 6 hearts, which passed out. Seems like a pretty reasonable auction on our hand, and I mean, we're relatively happy about it, right? We have the club void, we have support for partner's diamond suit, and we have good offensive potential with some nice controls. Exclusion, yeah. I mean, we had one earlier, so very possible that we could have had the repeat disaster. But no, we've talked about it, right? No more exclusion problems. So we get the 10 of hearts lead, and this was the dummy. Well, we gotta start with pulling trumps. I mean, 6 hearts looks like a pretty good contract. 7 hearts looks like a pretty good contract. If trumps are splitting and diamonds split, we can rough the diamonds good and we have all the tricks. So I started with the ace of hearts, led a heart to the king, and West showed out. And this was a very surprising trick to me, because leading a singleton heart against this auction is a little bit weird. Most players would just lead clubs, of course, because that's the unbid suit, almost regardless of what your club holding is. But it wasn't just the singleton heart lead, it was the fact that the singleton heart was the 10, which could be an important spot card and might cause Declare to, go wrong in the play. Like, imagine if Declare had ace, king, jack, 9, 6 of hearts opposite a doubleton. Now you lead the 10 of hearts, and you pick off your partner's queen 4th. It goes around to the jack, Declare crosses, and plays a heart to the 9. Whereas Declare on his own power would cash the ace of hearts and play a heart to the jack, for example. So the 10 of hearts was like a very suspicious lead to me, which made me think that West was pretty likely to have most of the missing high cards, like in either diamonds, clubs, or spades. But I continued pulling trumps. I still didn't need to make any decisions yet. Played the queen of hearts, pitched a club from dummy. Excuse me. Played the 4th heart, as West has now thrown 3 clubs. On all 3 of the hearts, all small clubs. East switched to the ace of clubs, which I roughed, and West dumped the jack on this trick. Well, I now had a pretty good idea as to what was going on in the deal. I was pretty confident that West had the diamond queen, but there are a couple of other possibilities to consider, rather than just, like, taking the diamond finesse, where, like, we would feel really bad if East has queen doubleton, and go down when we could just cash the ace, king of diamonds, and make any time the diamond suit is 3-2. But the way the clubs had been played, especially with West falling to the jack on this trick, it seemed pretty likely that West started with king, jack, 5th of clubs. So adding the king, jack, 5th of clubs to their singleton heart, if West happened to have 4 diamonds to the queen, then spades have to be 3-3, right? West's shape would therefore be 3-1-4-5. And of course the trump lead is weird, but there's no reason to believe that West has to have the queen of spades for the way that this defense or this auction has gone, right? Like, West just as well might have led the singleton trump with 3 small spades as they would with queen 3rd. So my thought process was, well, it's a big position to take a diamond finesse, either on the 1st or 2nd round of the suit. And I think I would rather play the ace, king of diamonds. Hopefully diamonds are 3-2 and nothing bad happens. Otherwise, I can still fall back on this presumed 3-3 spade layout where East could have queen 3rd of spades. So that's what I ended up going with. I led the 9 of diamonds to the ace, king of diamonds, East discarded, played the king of spades, ran the jack of spades, and West won. 11 tricks, down 1. Now, the other table obviously did not open my hand, and they managed to get all the way up to 4 hearts, where they took 10 tricks on this one. So, unfortunately, if 6 hearts had come through, we would have won 11 imps, but as it was, we ended up losing, I guess, 10, because minus 50 and minus 420 was only 10 imps and not 11. So a little bit sad that such an excellent contract didn't come through, or didn't come home, but I did have an opportunity to take the diamond finesse and make the contract, which I'm still not certain what the right thing to do is on this deal. I was in 4th seat with this hand. Partner opened a diamond. I bet a spade, of course. And partner splintered in clubs. Now, there might be an argument for saying that this hand was stronger than the hand we saw earlier, where partner splintered in diamonds and I had like queen jack 4th of diamonds. Like here, I do happen to have a true control in the heart suit, and the queen of diamonds in partner suit. So, imagine if partner has like the ace of hearts, the ace queen of spades, and the ace king of diamonds, singleton club. We could easily be cold for a slam. I decided to learn from my mistakes of last time, and with only 4 trumps, despite having an otherwise kind of suitable hand that looks like it might be fitting, I decided to sign off in 4 spades over the splinter, which went all pass. So, nervously awaiting the dummy and the opening lead, just hoping that partner didn't have like the best possible hand over there for me, I got the 5 of spades lead. Not that unusual. Same player, of course, who has made this trump lead now a couple of times during the play. But against the splinter auction, it's a little bit more marked to lead the lead trumps. Well, I have a lot of work to do. I mean, on the surface, there's only, 2 losers if one of 2 diamond finesses work. But I have to pull trumps, I have to set up heart tricks, maybe, so I might lose a heart. I might get tapped in dummy if the opponent switched to clubs enough time, and they might be able to score club tricks before I get everything working. But I came up with a line of play that all it needed was 1 of 2 diamond hooks on side and 3-2 trumps, which I felt like was a pretty good line of play. Yeah? You would be pretty happy if I told you that, like, you could play in a game contract and all you needed was, like, a good trump split and 1 of 2 finesses to work. You would be pretty excited about that. So the line of play I came up with was to overtake the first spade in hand and, very importantly, run the 8 of diamonds. If I run the queen of diamonds instead, and I play the 2 from North's hand, I can eventually get back to my hand and play a diamond to the 10, but I won't be able to remain in my hand for another diamond finesse. So by running the 8 and preserving the queen, when it comes time for me to take that second diamond finesse, I can lead the queen, low, 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 and then take another diamond hook. So the 8 of diamonds went around to the jack. East continued the good work of playing back spades, and with West following, I was feeling like pretty good about my chances. So I won, played another spade back to my hand as East pitched a heart, and ran the queen of diamonds. Oh no. East had both diamond honors. And, more importantly, this feels terrible because, especially in these lower level brackets, players don't think of taking finesses like this. Players will think of taking a finesse like leading low to the queen, hoping that the king is onside, or playing low to the ace and low back to the queen, or playing low to the ace and running the 10. And all of those lines of play are going to work, right? So This feels really awful, and it looks like we might have lost another game swing after that slam swing earlier went against us. East switches to a club, I play the 10. I at this point was just trying to do my best to avoid going down too many. West wins the queen of clubs, but was too afraid to continue the club suit. Switched to the 10 of hearts, I tried the hook, but now I was able to claim, roughing the 2 of hearts in hand. Had they tapped dummy in clubs, I would have been in a lot of trouble and gone down several, but fortunately I escaped for down 1. Unfortunately, as the foreshadowing has mentioned, the other declarer ended up leading a diamond to the ace and a diamond back to the queen, and given the 3-3 diamond split, there almost wasn't anything they could do to go wrong from there. I vaguely remember our teammates having a conversation with me and saying that declarer went down in a situation where they couldn't have. Maybe it was this hand, but one way or another, I feel like we got a little bit unlucky on this one, given that both diamond honors were offside, unfortunately. So with those 2 boards in, and I mean, there were several other swing boards, but these were 2 of the more notable ones. We did end up losing our finals match of the bracket 2 knockout. So we make it to the finals, and here was one of the hands. I was in first seat, and so I ended up passing in first seat. The auction started with East opening a diamond, or East opening a club, partner overcalled a diamond, player on my right bid a heart, so I decided to get in there with a spade. I mean, I have a maximum, passed hand, why not? The auction continued. Support doubled by East. 2 clubs by partner. No real discussion about anything, but again, we presume that a lot of things are natural. 2 hearts by West. So, what? Okay, well, I pass, and partner balanced with 4 spades. It's starting to sound like partner's 2 clubs might have been an attempt at supporting spades, and he just didn't want to risk everything passing out. So, which is basically what happened. We talked about it afterwards. So the opening lead was the 6 of hearts, and this was the dummy that hit. Not the greatest dummy for me. The diamond honor is not really fitting. I have a bunch of heart points opposite the void. No support redoubles. I mean, not as overcaller. That's true, PJF. You really never know with some teams, and because there is some luck involved, right? Like this whole both finesses offside sort of thing, or trump splitting 4-1 and diamond splitting 4-1 and the queen of spades not coming home. Like, you can always lose any match, like no matter how good you are. You can always end up losing just to a string of what I guess you could call bad luck, but ultimately things tend to balance out in the end. So, I should bring the auction back up. So 6 of hearts lead. Well, we have some issues. I mean, on the surface it looks like it would be nice if we could bring the diamond suit home and get back to South's hand and, have pulled trumps. But there isn't a great way to do that. Like, if I were to ruff this heart and begin pulling trumps, I mean, for one thing, the opponents can continue playing hearts, but for another, they might be able to just go ace of clubs club, and that kills the entry to the long diamonds. Alternatively, if I try and ruff diamonds immediately, like I win the ace of hearts and try and ruff diamonds immediately, or I try and duck a spade, again, they can continue tapping dummy, and it looks like they're eventually going to be able to force dummy out of trumps when either they'll have a heart to cash, or when they'll still be able to cut off dummy from the long diamond. So I needed a bit of a different plan, and there were a couple of different plans that I thought of. One was to just play East for both of the missing club honors. Like, I could win the Ace of Hearts, lead a club, planning to stick in the Jack, and then hopefully get back to my hand somehow, lead another club, planning to win the King, use that to pitch one heart, and hopefully ruff 2 hearts in the dummy. Unfortunately, this plan also didn't look like it was going to work. I just don't have enough entries to North's hand to take all the finesses I need, basically. The second plan that I came up with was, well, maybe East has led from honor third of hearts. If that's the case, there might be a chance where I can ruff 2 hearts, setting up the Jack, pull trumps, and eventually take a club finesse. And I really liked this plan because, for one thing, you know, maybe East would have led a higher heart spot if East really had 3 small. It's possible, right? Like, he's already made the support double, so if he had a bunch of small hearts, then he kind of can show attitude on trick 1 instead of count. But also, I need fewer entries to my hand to do this, right? Like, I start by ruffing a heart at trick 2, win the Ace of Hearts, ruff a heart, or I could ruff a heart immediately. And then as long as I can get back to my hand one more time, like with a spade to the ace, I can ruff another heart, setting up the King, then try and pull trumps, or setting up the Jack, you know, the King or Queen will fall, and try and pull trumps. So, excuse me. Man, I need some water, but unfortunately in this house, there really is no water. Back to the hand, because this was a very exciting one. So, if I were to follow the line of play of win Ace of Hearts, ruff a heart, spade to the ace, ruff a heart, that's great. The Jack of Hearts has hopefully been set up, but now how do I get back to my hand? Well, if I can't play a club because then the opponents will get 2 clubs. And if I go ace, king of diamonds, and a diamond, I've already squandered the spade ace. So West could ruff in with some trick, the 9 of spades, queen of spades, it kind of doesn't matter. And then play a heart for East to ruff, and then they'll still have a trump left. One of them will still have a trump to go with their ace of clubs. So this line of play doesn't work, but we can alter the way that we get back to our hand. So instead of returning to hand the first time with the spade ace, which tends to feel quite intuitive when you're like in these situations, you kind of want to pull trumps as soon as possible. Instead, we return to hand by playing 3 rounds of diamonds first. So I ruffed a heart, and then I played ace, king of diamonds, and a diamond. West showed out on this trick, and we can now look at the full hand to see what's going on with West from West's perspective. So there is nothing that West can do. If West, as West played during the hand, West pitched a club, hoping that I couldn't pull trumps quickly enough and they could get a club ruff, but I was able to ruff a heart, and now I can play a spade to the ace and a second trump. And from here, all I needed to do was guess the clubs, but of course East is kind of end-played into leading clubs for me, so ace of clubs was led, and I claimed 12 tricks. If instead, after the same start to the hand, 3 rounds of diamonds, if West here ruffs in with the 9 of spades, I don't over-ruff with the spade ace. Instead, I discard. And here, it's a little bit simpler. I can just pitch a heart. Now I don't need the king of hearts to come down. East follows, but now because the trumps have split, all I need to do is ruff a heart to dummy and go ace of spades, spade. The 9 of spades was actually a natural trump trick that West is ruffed with. So there was nothing that West could do on this 3rd round of diamonds to beat the contract. So 4 spades been made. At the other table, my hand never got into the auction. Our teammates opened a strong no trump, I think, on the East hand, understandably, with this good 14 count good 5-card suit, a bunch of 10s and 9s. And after South showed a single suited hand, West ended up transferring to hearts. South eventually balanced with 3 diamonds and ended up playing there. North-South did go plus, making 3 diamonds on their hand, I think. Actually, I'm not certain about that, but I think they did. Either way, it was not enough to make up for the game swing that we were able to come to for making 4 spades. I'm going to try and find a way to procure water. I will pull up the hand so you can think what to do. 3 hearts by right-hand opponent. We make a takeout double. Partner bids 3 spades and it comes passed back to us. It's probably worth talking about like what bids should mean in this auction. I think 4 hearts should be a good spade raise. We had a discussion with Jeff Hampson afterwards about this deal, and so I have a much better understanding of probably what I should have done. What I did, despite it working, was probably incorrect. So we could, of course, bid 3 now. I mean, right? We have a heart stopper, we've doubled, we have a source of tricks and clubs. The thing that I really don't like about 3 now is that our diamonds and spades might be completely worthless. Like, our heart stopper's getting knocked out at trick 1, and East probably has a second heart over there. Most likely. So, if we need to knock out one of the pointed suit aces, then East will get in, play hearts, and West is just going to run all the hearts against us. So that makes me kind of dislike 3 now. But the other alternatives might not be better. If 4 hearts really is a good raise to 4 spades, which I think it should be, this auction is so cramped, and would you rather like 4 hearts to show, you know, this hand effectively like 3-1-5-4 that's like further takeout? Or would you rather have it show a hand with like 4-card spade support that's interested in slam opposite only a 3-spade bid, but isn't comfortable like bypassing the 4 level when partner could have nothing? I think the latter hand is probably more useful to have. And then the final alternative is to bid 4 clubs, which is what I ended up going with at the table. So I bid 4 clubs, which passed out. And, I mean, this hand, I think, or this sort of bid might make a lot more sense at match points than at teams, where there isn't a bonus for bidding games. But it could kind of go wrong in a bunch of different ways. Craig asked, did anyone agree that 4 clubs should be forcing? I'm not sure that came up. What I can say is that after kind of talking it through with Jeff Hampson a little bit, I think 3 no trump is the least of all evils. Partners should correct 3 no trump to 4 spades with a 5-card suit, so you always get to 4 spades in a 5-3 fit. You avoid playing 4 spades and 4-3 fits, because partner will pass. And you're most likely making game, I mean, could be 5 of a minor, but you don't know which one. So if you had to blindly guess which minor it was, then maybe 3 no trump is the better guess. And so I think for that reason, I actually do like 3 no trump. Mostly due to the fact that partners should be correcting 3 no to 4 spades with 5. I think a pretty large percentage of the time. So anyway, I bid 4 clubs. So did the other table. And this was what we fetched in dummy. We got the 3 of hearts lead. And I mean, 4 spades doesn't look like a horrible contract, but it's also probably not odds on. Remember, West has preempted 3 hearts, So for four spades to make, not only do the trumps need to be 3-2, otherwise East will have three natural spade tricks to go with the diamond ace, but West needs to not be getting a ruff. And West could get a ruff anytime that they have a singleton club or singleton diamond. I mean, it's true, maybe East will always lead a heart, and so you can make more often than that. But you will need the 3-2 trump split at the very least, and on this layout, that did not happen. So four spades was not making, four clubs was par for the hand. Both declarers ended up taking 10 tricks and clubs, so it was a push board. Man, bracket 3 is tough, huh? If everyone's getting to four clubs on these hands and is making exactly. I thought it was an interesting bidding problem. I did end up passing it around the tournament to a handful of people, but it seems that a lot of people ended up liking 3 no trump, which I think I agree with. Four clubs can be beaten. Ace of spades, spade ruff, diamond to the ace, spade ruff. Yeah, it could be beaten. That's true. I guess it's not par, actually. I didn't realize. I wonder if East should figure that out to lead the club ace or spade ace on this type of auction. So this was North's hand. Fourth seat, club opener on his left, a diamond on his right, a no trump on his left. Whoop, let me have my mouse. Club over here, diamond over here, no trump here. East-West play XYZ over this auction, so 2 clubs force 2 diamonds as a sign-off. And North was on lead. So North led the 5 of spades and saw this dummy. Well, he does have a natural diamond trick. He has a heart trick. We find out at trick 1 that his partner has the spade ace, so that's 2 spades, a heart, a diamond, and you know, maybe his partner has the club ace, and hopefully we can give declare a club guess, is the idea. So the ace of spades holds trick 1, a heart came back, a low heart from his partner, he won the ace, to return a heart, figuring that his partner's only reason to lead a low heart there would be that he had jack third, and that way they can set up a couple of heart tricks before declare can pitch on the queen jack of spades. So heart goes to the king, and declare now tries a low club off dummy. Kind of a strange play, right? So this goes small, 10, queen. Okay. So he cashes the king of spades and exits a spade. And this was to set up his plan for later in the play. He exited a spade. He wanted his partner to be on lead with a long spade leading into a double void. So the queen of spades held. Declare continued the king of clubs to the ace. And now the jack of hearts from south as North let it hold the trick. And here, at this point, when a spade comes through, if declarer was able to ruff with, for example, the jack or 10 of diamonds, well, we could discard. And then we're going to have 2 natural diamond tricks. Of course, there are some complications, but and I might not have the exact line of play correct, but this was the idea, at least, from the North player on this hand, is that if declare happened to have ace jack 10 of diamonds, then when his partner leads that last spade, it's going to cause a lot of problems for declare. So the 13th spade was led. Declare ruffed with the 2 of diamonds, so he was able to over-ruff with the 7, forcing the king. And now when a diamond came back to the jack, he won the queen, exited the queen of hearts, which his partner ruffed with the ace of diamonds. And he was able to score another trick for down 4. So what ended up happening on this deal? Well, North-South, of course, do have quite a large share of the high card points. Kurt, my partner over here, sitting west, was a little bit eager to bid over a club in this auction. And we ended up stealing the contract in 2 diamonds. So we went minus 400 on this one. This was almost a push board. Our teammates ended up getting to 3 no trump on the north-south cards, and after East led the Queen of Spades, North did work out correctly the end position to score an over trick in 3 no trump, so we won 1, plus 430. So this is a hand that Kurt held. And again, I've made like a little bit of liberty in adjusting like some of the cards or something because I'm not entirely sure what the layout was, but I'm pretty sure that something like this is what was going on. So he was in 3rd seat. Partner, me, opened a club. There it is. Yeah, Val Kovachev. That's the one. So we were playing against Henry Nelson, Val Kovachev. Thanks, Will. So he was in 3rd seat. I opened a club. He bid a heart. All looks good so far. Now the auction starts getting out of control. 2 diamonds on his left. Partner bids 2 hearts, promising 4. 3 diamonds on his right. He decides to double, which is a game try, maximal double. Seems somewhat reasonable. I mean, the Queen Doubleton of diamonds has definitely depreciated in value, so you can argue that this hand is no longer a game force opposite partner's opening bid, despite being vulnerable at imps. Regardless, I decided to bid 4 hearts, which I think, like in retrospect, might have been a bit of a silly bid, but I figured we were vulnerable at imps. This was in the 3rd round of the Swiss. So in the 1st round, we had won 16-4 in victory points, and in the 2nd round, we had won 20-0. So at this point in time, I think we might have been leading the event, or pretty close to it, which is why we ran into a pretty difficult team here in the 3rd round. Oh boy. So 4 hearts passes out. That was the end of the auction. And the opening lead was the Ace of Diamonds. There. So this was the dummy I put down where I accepted partner's game try. Okay, look. I had a singleton diamond. It's only a 9 count, but I did have the singleton diamond. So I wasn't sure if bidding game was a good decision, but I just figured vulnerable at imps, let's give it a try. So the Ace of Diamonds held trick 1, and West continued with the 10 of diamonds. So on this trick, Kurt pitched a spade. He needed to get to dummy to play trumps, and I mean, maybe he should just lead the King of Hearts out of hand for starters, since he's always planning to hook East for the Heart Jack. He decided to cross in clubs, which held, and run the 9 of Hearts immediately, which was effective. West won the ace. And West on this trick exited the Queen of Spades. Fascinating, right? Well, it's starting to sound as if West has the singleton Ace of Hearts, right? This Queen of Spades exit seems very suspicious. So West must have the singleton Ace of Hearts, right? He's probably worried about continuing diamonds, which could give Declare a rough sluff, and rightly so. It would have given Declare a rough sluff. And of course he doesn't want to lead clubs because that could blow a club trick if he's still looking at King Doubleton of clubs. So from that perspective, a spade switch is the only thing that West can do. Well, how do you handle the spade switch? Obviously, if you think that West has the Queen Jack 3rd of spades, you could just run this spade trick around your ace, cross to the club ace, take another heart finesse, eventually knock out the club king, pull trumps, and take a spade finesse, right? Claim, basically. You would end up just losing 1 club trick from here. But there's no guarantee that West has to have the Jack of Spades. So is there anything we can do if East has the Jack of Spades? Well, in fact there is, but the line of play is a little bit convoluted. And Kurt, I mean, I'm not going to give him full credit on this one, because at the end of the hand, he said that he was playing West for the Jack of Spades. But the line of play you would have to take involves making the spades into a frozen suit so that neither opponent can lead the suit properly. So if you were to win the ace of spades and East has the jack, then when West gets in with the king of clubs, another spade through will scuttle the contract. You'll play the 10, East wins. But if you play the king on this trick, and West started with the queen 9 of spades and East started with the jack of spades, you actually are able to throw the defenders in. So this is what Kurt started doing. He won the king of spades. He played a heart to the 10 as West showed out. He then cashed the king of hearts. And at this point, I'm going to show the full deal. So this is the full hand from here. What he could have done, hold on, let me see if I have written down what he did do. Yeah, I do. So what he could have done at this point is continue by playing a club to the ace, just in case the king doubleton falls, and then exiting a club. And there's nothing the defenders can do from here. For starters, if East pitches, say, a diamond, West wins and gets end played. If West gives a rough sluff, declare roughs and dummy, pitches a spade, his loser, crosses back to the spade ace to pull the last trump, and the jack of clubs is good. If instead West exits a spade, declare plays low, which forces the jack, and again, now declare can just pull trumps, and the rest of the cards are high. Alternatively, East can offer a little bit of a stiffer defense by roughing his partner's king of clubs, but this gets himself end played. So again, a diamond exit gives a rough sluff, declare pitches a spade loser, and a spade exit allows declare to run this trick around to the 10, to again pull trumps, and then his hand is high. So this is what could have happened at this point in play. Unfortunately, Kurt had kind of worked this out and realized that West was getting end played, but he cashed his last trump before throwing West in. So he played the queen of hearts, played a club to the ace, club back, and unfortunately, West was kind of end played into leading spades, but he has a diamond left. So he exited a diamond, East was able to overtake and claim 2 tricks, and eventually Kurt got the ace of spades at trick 13 for down 2. So we had a chance to get a massive result against this very strong team. Unfortunately, it did not pan out that way. Obviously, Kurt could have made 4 hearts on this previous hand, but it was understandably a very difficult line of play to come up with. But this hand feels like we just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So this was my hand. I was in first seat. So I opened a spade. And the auction proceeded. Double on my left. Partner redoubled to show values and deny 3 spades. East bid a no trump. So, as you're supposed to do, I passed, hoping that we could collect a penalty against a no trump. West bid 2 diamonds. And remember, we're playing against a pro with a sponsor. So the sponsor is the one who has made the takeout double here and bid 2 diamonds. I mean, I think everyone at the table understood that this was not a strong hand. So when it came back to me, I balanced with 2 spades. Whoop. Which ended the auction. So that was the auction. I think, for what it's worth, partners doubles in this point, given that he had started with redouble, should tend to be penalty, which means that partners pass over 2 diamonds probably indicates a hand that isn't interested in penalizing 2 diamonds. Either way, I would have had a bit of a difficult decision if partner did double with my singleton, but maybe I would have ended up passing. So we get to 2 spades, we get the queen of diamonds lead, and I've seen enough sponsored players end up making these takeout doubles and then bidding a suit, that it is always void. They're always void in opener's suit. That just seems to be the case. Like, I know the auction doesn't necessarily indicate that spades are 5-0. I mean, obviously East has some spades over there, but my experience is that this auction is 100% a spade void against sponsors and clients. So when the dummy came down, and I mean, even before dummy came down, I was pretty certain of it. I had no trouble playing this hand out. The play was relatively straightforward once I was fairly certain spades were 5-0. Queen of diamonds held. Ace of clubs switch. Club to the queen. I dumped the jack just to be as confusing as possible. I led the 10 of spades. East covered. I played the queen. West showed out. I tried to cross back in hearts. West won the king. Heart to the queen. And at this point I claimed, stating that I would lead another spade. East would get 2 more spade tricks, whether he splits his honors immediately or not, because my ace 8-7 of spades were just powerful enough to pick up East trump holding for only 2 losers. So, nicely played hand, you might think. Well, our teammates at the other table had a bit of a disaster on this one. They were defending the same contract. Unfortunately, it was doubled. And, unfortunately, they ended up giving up an over trick. I didn't ask them how the play went, but I suspect that West led the jack of hearts at some point. So what happened in the other room is, again, a pro-client pair. The client on the south hand opened 2 spades on their cards, which went double, all pass. And that was 870. Auction, I guess I can get rid of the auction cover. Not much to this one. So your left-hand opponent, north, opens a diamond. Your partner overcalls a spade. Right-hand opponent bids 3 hearts, which is weak. All pass. You lead your double 10 spade as requested. And trick 1 goes queen, or king, ace, 9. So your partner switches to the 10 of clubs, which goes jack, and Kurt spent a little while thinking at this point. Now, for more experienced players, maybe you have already worked out what's going on this deal, but for less experienced players, try and think about what sort of club holding your partner can have, because this is something that will come up, and actually comes up somewhat frequently. I mean, like, here's an example hand where this could happen, where there's only one thing that your partner can do to set up enough club tricks in the suit, given the holding that he has. And you might look at it and say, well, oh god, like, partner switched to the 10 of clubs, declare played the jack, there's the 9 and dummy, obviously partner doesn't have the king, so I should definitely just play low here, hope that the declarer misguesses the clubs later, plays low to the ace and finesses the wrong way on the way back, right? Well, unfortunately, that is going to blow club tricks, because this was the full layout. And this 10 of clubs switch is known as a surrounding play, because you need to lead this card. Like, stepping back a trick, if I, as East, had switched to the 8 of clubs, declarer could play low, that 9 and dummy is a little bit pesky. So if you play the queen, declarer can win, and eventually lead a club up towards the jack through your partner's king. Alternatively, if your partner had switched to, say, the king of clubs, well, this isn't much better. Declarer can win the ace, but the club suit is now frozen. So at this point, declarer could probably unblock the jack of spades, eventually get back over there, use the queen of spades to pitch. Obviously, West can rough on this deal, but that's kind of beside the point in this instance. So the only way to actually set up 2 club tricks is to do what I did at the table, which is switch to the 10 of clubs. If declarer doesn't play the jack, the 10 will force the ace, and you have the king-queen. When it goes jack, you cover with the queen, which Kurt worked out correctly at the table, which was good, to the ace, and now as declarer played the queen of hearts and ducked a diamond to Kurt, he was pretty quick to actually lead a club back. He said that he had figured out what was going on in the club suit, which is really nice, having not seen a surrounding play before. So I was able to win the 8, cash the king, and eventually declarer got in to pull the remainder of the trumps for 9 tricks. Now, unfortunately, with this hand, there's not a happy ending. Our teammates made it to 4 hearts on the north-south cards. And 4 hearts, if we go back to the start of play, there is absolutely nothing the defense can do. You might think the surrounding play is cool, but declarer didn't need to put up the king of spades at trick 1. After a spade lead, if declarer had just played a low spade, and I won the ace to lead the 10 of clubs, I mean, for one thing, declarer could just overtake the ace king of hearts and pull trumps that way, eventually overtaking the jack of spades to get back over there to pitch a loser. But declarer doesn't even need to do that. Declarer could instead let me think. I thought there was a different way for the player in my seat did not find the surrounding play, so it was kind of irrelevant, but our teammates did still end up going down. I feel like declarer still comes out ahead if they don't do anything special from this point, but maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe they do need to overtake the queen of hearts and play for Jack Doubleton. Ultimately, we finished, I think, 7th or something in the Swiss on Sunday. I don't remember exactly what it was. Picked up a handful of more master points or whatever, which brought us to about 90 on the week. It might be 80. I'm not sure. Somewhere in the 80 to 90 range, which was not bad. Not bad for Kurt's first regional, picking up a ton of gold points. I mean, I always have fun, but it was a lot of fun getting back and sitting down and playing. There were a bunch of people who came up to me during the tournament and said that they appreciated the all of the commentary and everything that I do, and the YouTube channel and whatnot, and meeting some viewers was cool.